Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents The Dave Holly Hour. Brought to you by the Sky Lounge and Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Ale Hop Brewery Tours, and Jesse Moffitt Entertainment. The Dave Holly Hour features Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment Conversations and has been recognized by the Sioux Falls Stage Awards with a special distinction for promoting the arts. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Holly.
Welcome, everyone. Glad to have you along here on episode 95. 5 more to go till the big triple digits, episode number 100, which will come out the 7th of October is when it is scheduled. And that is just a few days before the second anniversary of the Dave Holly Hour, beginning with episode number 1 back on 10/10 of 2019. We've had a lot going on in between times, haven't we? Anyway, what are we going to be doing today? We're going to be finding out more about the rebranding that took place, because we will have executive director / artistic director of the now Premiere Playhouse, Robin Byrne, will be joining us. Also, as the Playhouse season is just going to be getting underway this month, a season for the Sioux Falls Canaries baseball team is ending. But this weekend, they have a lot of entertainment and even some educational things planned for you. So John Gaskins, who is the resident entertainment director for the Canaries, as well as a few other things that he likes to do, he's going to be with us coming up later in the show. If you're a regular listener, you know what we do right now.
Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day in your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party.
All right, I used him as the honorable mention last week, but now we have to toast after the whole Little League World Series is done. The Sioux Falls Little League team made this city proud, that is for sure. The 4th best in the country. They got to the finals of their brackets, lost out to a very tough team from Ohio, and then they lost to Hawaii in the consolation game, but still, 4th best Little League team in the U.S. It was great watching, and so congratulations, boys. You did the city proud. The Weekend Eve Toast has been brought to you by Ale Hop Brewery Tours. No matter what brewery in Sioux Falls is your favorite, Ale Hop Brewery Tours lets you and your friends choose any or all of the 8 local breweries. Best part, they take care of the driving in a very cool van that sits up to 6. Book your private tours online at alehopbrewerytours.com. If you're already out and about on the weekend, hop on one of their public tours. For more information, call 605-777-2183. That's 605-777-2183. Take it from some others that have said, I would recommend this tour to anyone, beer lover or not. Thanks for the great experience. Ale Hop Brewery Tours, where micro fans meet micro brews. The other thing that we do is called Honorable Mention. And speaking of baseball, so my wife and I last night got home after being gone Tuesday, Wednesday, a little mini vacation for us, and we were going up to the Cubs against the Twins baseball game in Minneapolis. So we're up there. You know how you think that you're not going to see anybody you know. But it was a great game and so forth. But before the game starts, we're walking around the stadium, you know, getting our bearings. We found where our seats were going to be, and then we decided we needed maybe to get some food and some beverages. Well, we decided on the beverages first. So we go over to this nice bar that's in the left field, beyond the wall in left field, Great place to actually view some of the innings from, too, as we found out later. But we're just hanging over that railing, starting to sip our drinks, and all of a sudden we look down and see this familiar face that says, "What are you guys doing here?" It was a friend of ours, Mariah Plessity. She's a very good friend of our younger daughter, and she lives in the Twin Cities, and she is works in the medical field, so congratulations that she gets to, with her boyfriend, go to several Twins games. Of course, we were there for the Cubs, and we got to give a little shout out to the Cubs winning a game this year, at least ever since all the big trades that they had. But so for Mariah, little applause along with that, Tiffany. Mariah Plessity, it was great to see you and get caught up. And thanks for making our day, no matter what the outcome would have been of that game. It's just a bonus that the Cubs won, but it would have been fantastic just running into you. So thank you. You are this week's coveted winner of the Dave Holly Hour Honorable Mention. Coming up later on in the show from the Sioux Falls Canaries, John Gaskins will talk about the remaining entertainment they have on their final homestand. But just in a few minutes, the executive director / artistic director of the Premiere Playhouse, Mr. Robin Byrne, coming up on the Dave Holly Hour.
Hi, my name is Jesse Moffett, and I'm not a piano player. I'm a comic magician and hypnotist. I've been performing for over 20 years. I've performed at many events, corporate events, holiday parties, post-prom parties, graduation parties, state and county fairs, festivals, just about anything you can imagine. The funniest thing about the Magic Act is that I use a ton of audience participation, and that can make things really interesting. Put it down the front of your shirt. Stop being so, my hand won't follow it. The best thing about the hypnosis show is that the volunteers and their imaginations really make it a blast.
Holy crap, dude, did you see what you just did? You could do that possibly to girls.
For booking information, go to Jesse Moffett Entertainment on Facebook. That's JESSEMOFFITT. Or call 605-929-0964.
He's just the eyeballs. Once again, here is Dave Holly.
Welcome back, everyone. So appreciative that you are listening to the Dave Holly Hour. I am Dave Holly. I'm the one that we talk about in the beginning and, promote throughout the show. But I don't talk that much, really, because I love to let people talk about what they are passionate about. This man, I believe this is now the fourth episode you've been on with me, is Robin Byrne. He was my very first guest from the Sioux Empire Community Theater. But, oh, wait, does this mean you qualify as a new guest? Because we're the Premiere Playhouse now.
That's correct. Yeah, we rebranded 1 week ago. Yeah.
And tell us what the Premiere Playhouse is going to be in terms of the rebranding. What's going to happen to the facilities and so forth? What do we have ahead of us right now?
Well, there's a lot already happened in terms of our facilities. We're actually sat here in our new offices, which accommodate a whole team of people. I think the time you did your first broadcast and I was your first guest.
Right.
I was the only employee.
That's right.
And now I've got a team of 6 people working with me, and we're building a professional theatre company. All of my new employees are all theatre professionals.
Okay.
They've all been through theatre training at various universities and are qualified and skilled in different areas of the theatre. So we've now got a production manager. We've got a deputy production manager who's also our full-time stage manager. We have someone who's our education coordinator, handling all of the, not just the summer camps that we have traditionally done in the past, but we've added to that a lot of classes that we'll be promoting shortly. And what we're trying to do, as I said, is have a professional theatre company that serves the community, so that we are still a community theatre and we still have opportunities for local people to volunteer as actors, to volunteer backstage and front of house and on, sound desks and lighting desks, etc. But they'll be able to do that under the tutorage, if you like, of a professional who'll help them to be even better at what we're trying to get them to do. And they'll be able to come to classes in those areas as well and just improve their skills. So that's what we're trying to do. We're also a collaboration centre. We are encouraging other theatre companies to work with us, and we're also encouraging other members of the arts community to work with us. So we've got things coming up soon, like the Arts and Wine Walk that Downtown Sioux Falls organise, where we've invited artists to create artwork around our upcoming season. So there's a nice double-edged sword there, where we get to promote our season and they get to display their work and maybe even sell their work. We've talked to the municipal band about doing a show together. And, one of the things I hope we talk about is this spectacular production that we're going to have coming up of A Christmas Carol. And there's an opportunity there that we might be able to get some municipal band members in to be part of the cast and have a sort of Salvation Army brass band as part of the show, that kind of thing. So, yeah, lots and lots of things happening right now.
All right, so when you were the first guest, one of the things you were talking about was the fact that we already have good quality. And now you're even looking to boost that even more, aren't you? Yeah,
I think what I said to you at the time is when you look at famous movie stars, famous actors or whatever, at one time they were just a member of their local community walking around the streets, and nobody knew who they were or whatever, but they got the break that they needed to get and they became really famous. And I think every community has people of that quality in there that you've just got to get out there and find them. And one of the ideas I'm toying with at the moment, which I have to still talk to my board members about, is that we should maybe even in future seasons have one of our plays that's a professional showcase, where we give opportunities to aspiring actors, people who are already at university doing theatre courses, who want to have a career in the theatre, whether that be on stage or backstage or whatever, and give them an opportunity to perform in front of invited professionals. So we'd be looking at inviting casting agents to come to a show where we would give them complimentary tickets and give the actors on stage an opportunity to be spotted by someone. And that's something that is a brand new idea, literally, that we came up with in the last 48 hours. And I would like to tag that into, you can be a part of a showcase production, but we'd like you also to be in at least one other production of that season as well, so that we keep strengthening the quality of what we do all of the time. And we're doing that, on the technical side, because these positions that I've been filling here and some of the contracts that I've gone into for an entire season are with people who are lighting designers, set designers, sound designers, and the audience will see a noticeable improvement in the quality of lighting, sound and set and everything else as we move forward with future seasons.
Yeah. It's funny you bring that up, because not too long back I was at the Tab Benoit concert. I was volunteering for Sioux Falls Jazz and Blues, and beforehand, before the crowd came in, I was talking to the lighting designer on that, and those people have passion. Lighting, technical directing, the lights, the sound, whatever it might be, stagehands, they've got passion.
Yeah.
They want to talk about their craft as well as anybody that's on stage.
They do, and they're just as important as anybody that's on stage. I was slightly disappointed this year at the Sioux Falls Stage Awards that there was only one award for the technical side. Yeah. And there are so many aspects to the technical side that they each deserve their own award, if you like, and that's something that I'll be talking to the organisers of the Stage Awards about for future awards. And
I would like to see that as well, as somebody involved in it too.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's fantastic. I would certainly vote for things. In the meantime, let's kind of recap what took place in season 18 before we move forward into 19 then.
Yeah.
What do you feel was just top notch, and how'd you do overall in terms of the house?
Yeah. Well, as you know, we started the season with COVID, and like lots of other people, we weren't able to start our season as we normally do in September. We had to delay the start of the season, so we didn't open until December with It's a Wonderful Life. And what a wonderful show it was. It was an outstanding show with such a beautiful set. And not many people saw it because a lot of people were very wary about coming back into a public area with lots of other people. We took a lot of precautions. We had an exemplary COVID policy that worked really well. We were double casting shows, and none of our cast members in one single show ever got ill as a result of the precautions that we took. But we barely broke even on that first show.
Right.
I think we made like $299 profit. And then we made a little more profit, a few $1,000s on the Odd Couple female version that we did,
which was phenomenal.
Yes, it was another good show. Thankfully, the last two shows of our season, the audiences opened up to. And we had to put on additional shows for Beauty and the Beast just to accommodate the demand for tickets, because we still restricted the size of the audience that we had. And then we lifted those restrictions for the final show of the season, which was Footloose. And we had 4,000 audience members come and see Footloose. So Beauty and the Beast and Footloose were big financial successes, and when you look at the 4 shows that we did and the season budget that we'd pre-COVID laid out, we made a good profit. Add into that the fact that we applied for COVID financial assistance from the government, etc., and we ended up having a financially strong season, as well as putting on 4 really great shows. And I had to disappear for a little while and go to England, and I decided while we were over there to revive our rebranding attempt that kind of got stymied by COVID as well, and so we decided now was the time that we needed to definitely rebrand, because we are not the same community theatre that existed 3 years ago. And we are striving, as I've already said, to be a professional theatre with a group of employees who are all professionals. And a lot of people are already commenting to us what an improvement they've seen in the quality of shows that we do. And I know that occasionally we put on shows that the public, they come and comment to me afterwards that if they'd been at the Guthrie or another professional theatre company, the show was as good as anything they see there. And sometimes, we drop the ball a little bit. during COVID, it's very difficult to maintain consistency when you've got two casts and you're having to swap the cast out halfway through a run and put a new cast in place, etc. So there was a little fluctuation there. But I like to think if COVID hadn't got in the way of that, it wouldn't. Our quality would have just consistently been rising with every show that we did. So yeah, we thought it was time to rebrand, and we wanted to pay homage or homage. Depending on what language you want to use, to the people who'd gone before us. And the very first community theatre here was the Sioux Falls Community Playhouse. Mm-hmm. And to this day, even though we changed and became the Sioux Empire Community Theatre, which was a completely new community theatre a couple of years after the Playhouse people had closed down, people still continued to call us the Playhouse. So, I mean, people would come up to me in the foyer on show night and say, "Oh, we love coming to see the Playhouse productions." So we thought, let's incorporate that into our name, but let's not be just the Playhouse, let's be something special. And we liked the idea of being the Premiere Playhouse, because the word premiere goes synonymously with theatre.
Right.
Every show
has a premiere. And we're actually even going to be this year running a playwright competition, and it's for one-act plays that run for about 45 minutes. And the two plays that are the winners of that will find their way into season 20. Oh, and, not just a little reward of being awarded one or two.
That's right. We're going to do a performance where before the interval we'll see a one-act play, and after the interval we'll see a second one-act play. Right. So they will truly be world premieres,
right,
of those original plays that local people have written, and it will be local people. We've put an 80-mile radius around Sioux Falls and said, if you live within that 80-mile radius, you can submit an entry into the festival.
That's pretty much the Sioux Empire, as we like to refer to it. Yeah, that's a great thing.
So we went for the word premiere, and the other reason behind that was I think we are the premier playhouse in terms of community theatre in this area. I mean, I know we're the only community theatre, but we are, working alongside other amateur theatre companies, and we like to share with them, and we pool actors and that kind of thing. But it's all part of our aspiration of being the premier theatrical venue to come to as we progress things in the future.
And by the way, if you just heard a Harley Davidson go by, that's because we're sitting in the new digs part of the Orpheum, where your offices are, and sitting in some very comfortable chairs right next to the front window, looking out into beautiful Phillips. And that's one of the things that, I love coming down, especially at night. Summer makes it a little more difficult, but when it's fall or winter and you're coming to a show here at now the Premiere Playhouse, right, and the lights on the marquee on the Orpheum are lit up and so forth, it's a great feeling.
Well, and of course the building is still the Orpheum.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the community theatre that is now the Premiere Playhouse.
Right.
Yeah. And so there are productions going on here that have nothing to do with us, and people will still be coming to the Orpheum, to see Lights Up perform, or Dapper perform, or the Goodnight Theatre Collective. Yeah, and I like to think we are a good theatre community that want to work together and want to help each other out and want to collaborate. Yeah,
and that's the key word. I say it almost weekly on this show, is that this community is in the arts and entertainment sector, not quote unquote competitive. everybody, of course, wants to get their share and so forth, but everybody's also collaborative and willing to help each other beyond what you see anyplace else. It's just amazing, like you talk about, with DAPA and also with the Good Night, and there's the monstrous little theater. There's the broadcast theater, and that's the thing that's been unique over the past few years, is to see how many little offshoots there are, and to know that everybody in those casts has probably been on this stage or has been in a now Premiere Playhouse production.
Yeah, that's true.
And so people, they'll be in one group in a production one week, and then they're on your stage here.
That's right.
So it's great to see that. That also happens to make your job a little easier then, doesn't it?
It's a double-edged sword.
Okay. They might have previous commitments.
That's right. I'm directing a show at the moment called Blood Brothers, and there was a lot of people that I spoke to beforehand, and I said, I hope you're going to audition for Blood Brothers. And with some of them, it was a case of, oh gosh, I'm already tied up with another production doing something else with somebody else, that kind of thing. But that's life.
Right.
It's always going to be like that, And I'm sure that sometimes, the people at Goodnight Theatre Collective are looking to fill, the cast for a show that they're doing, and someone's got a commitment with us, or whatever. So yeah.
All right. So you mentioned it. You are directing Blood Brothers.
Yes.
You're British. It happens to be a British play.
Yeah, it's a British musical.
Musical, okay.
Yeah.
What drew you to it, though? What's the premise that we're going to come to this and enjoy it?
I saw Blood Brothers in the UK many years ago. My daughters talked me into going to see it because they had both seen a couple of productions of it, and they absolutely love it. And whenever it's on, they will travel all across the UK to go and see it. I went and saw it, and I was just blown away. I thought, what a beautiful show this is. Hilariously funny and tragically sad at the same time. I directed Steel Magnolias here a couple of years ago, and it was a show like that, where the audience came and they laughed and laughed, and then they got their handkerchiefs out and the tears flowed, So I always wanted to do that show. Now, when I took over here 2 years ago, Rick Wyland, our president, he'd already seen Blood Brothers as well, and he said, oh, wouldn't that be a fantastic show for us to do? But it hasn't got much name recognition. And at that time, we were looking to come back from, difficult financial situation. So we'd pledged that we would put shows on that had good name recognition to try and get bums on seats. Now that we've effectively come back from that financial position into a strong financial position, we thought this season was a good season to take one or two risks, and I was able to talk the committee who select our plays into including Blood Brothers in this year's selections. But we're not going to do it here. We're not going to do it at the Orpheum. We're opening the season in the Belbus Theatre inside the Washington Pavilion. So that opens on the 23rd of September. It's coming up really fast.
That it is.
It's a wonderful story set in Liverpool in the 1960s. Well, of course, Liverpool in the 1960s was all about the Beatles and the Mersey sound, Jerry and the Pacemakers, Freddie and the Dreamers, and the Mersey Beats, and all these other bands that came out of Liverpool. And I'm not one for picking up a play and lifting it off the page and just dropping it on the stage. I like to do something different with it, try and do something that other people haven't done. So what we've done with this show is I've hidden about 12, some subtle and some not so subtle, references to the Beatles. either in the set design or
not just in the
in the dialogue or in the action that's on the stage. And I'd love to tell you what they are, but I want is
you're going to be able to hold on to this secret.
I want the audience to come along and see how many they spot, and then at the end of the run, I think we'll, through our social media, reveal what they all were and see how many people actually spotted. So we're going to have a pre-show. If you're going to come to the show, for half an hour before the show, our live band, who will be... This is a very unsubtle reference, so I'm not going to be... embarrassed to receive. They'll actually be sat in performing in the Cavern Club, which is going to be built into our set.
Okay.
It's an incredibly good-looking set that actually comes off the stage and runs up the side of the audience. So the audience will... certainly the people in the front half of the audience will be sat in amongst the set.
That'll be quite the sound.
There's a lot of references throughout the show, through the songs, to Marilyn Monroe. And there's references in the show to the local cinema. So we've built into the set a big advertising board for the local cinema, advertising a Marilyn Monroe movie. And that will evolve into a movie screen during the show with hidden cameras, and you'll be able to see close-ups of the actors whilst you're watching the show. I did it a few years ago when I directed The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, and we incorporated a movie screen into the set design, and at various times throughout the show the movie screen came to life, and you saw the action close up, or you maybe saw it from a different angle. And we're going to do exactly the same with Blood Brothers, and there'll be music playing at the interval as well. But the half hour before the show, the band will be playing live, and they'll be playing those Beatles songs that are relevant to the time and that tie into some of the things I've built into the set. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm working with a team of actors who are just so easy to work with, to the point where I've actually cancelled some of the rehearsals, because if I don't...
That has to be incredibly refreshing.
I think we'll be ready too soon. Yeah. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's the story of twins who are separated at birth, and one is brought up in a very wealthy family, and one is brought up in his original very poor family, but they come together actually as children and form an instant friendship bond and become literally blood brothers. They cut their hands and hold their hands together and become blood brothers without ever actually knowing that they're really brothers. And that all leads up to we follow them through their lives from being 7 years old to being young adults, and the tragic ending. And the ending is revealed right at the start of the show. Everybody knows that they born and they die on the same day, and the show is really the story of how that happened. And it's hilarious throughout. And then we have this tragic ending where, if we've done our job correctly, the audience will just fall in love with the three lead characters, if you like, and just be heartbroken for them at the end. Yeah.
All right.
Terrific.
Looking forward to that. That sounds amazing.
It and everybody that goes to see Blood Brothers, and I've spoken to a few Americans who've been to see it because it's never been a huge show over here. They all will come away saying, "What a fantastic musical! It's got to be one of my favourites now." You know, the songs in it are tremendous. It did have a Broadway run. It got nominated for 6 Emmys, and it won the Laurence Olivier Award for Best New Musical. Yeah.
Good things are coming.
Yeah.
So that's opening.
That's our next show, and it's coming to the Belbus Theatre on the 23rd of September. We open. Your tickets are available from the Pavilion box office or from our website, thepremiereplayhouse.com.
Premiere spelled how?
With an E on the end.
With an E on the end, all right.
Not to be confused with First Premiere,
right?
Who are also,
by the way, just a good contributor.
That's right. They've been a sponsor of us for quite some time now, and they sponsored our radio plays when we closed the doors because of COVID and we switched to doing radio plays. I accidentally recently, whilst buying cigars, ran into Dana Dykehouse and said to him, "Hey Dana, I need to have a chat with you." And I told him about our rebranding and the Premiere Playhouse, and I said I'd like to see if we can step up our relationship with you guys, and they've stepped up to the mark, and they've become our season sponsors for the next 4 seasons. And they're doing that in a very hands-off way as well. They still want us to have individual sponsors for the other shows. They don't care if that's a rival bank or anything like that. So we can still do all of that. But they also want to help us with our fundraising. And I organised a fundraising luncheon last year that was successful. It was just a very small private luncheon for a handful of people, and they want to help us organise those going forward and make sure we get the right people there and make that successful. And I've got so many things I could sit here and talk to you about that are all tied into that.
Well, I know one we have to talk about is A Christmas Carol.
Oh, yeah.
And you are really looking to step things up in that, production-wise, talent-wise. And basically, you're looking for this to be a tradition, aren't you?
That's right. We are absolutely pledged now to doing the Guthrie version of A Christmas Carol. We've secured the rights to the Guthrie script, and do that as an annual production and make it a family tradition every Christmas to come to the Premiere Playhouse, come to the Orpheum and see our production of A Christmas Carol. And what we've done is we are really putting on what will be a spectacular production. We took our COVID money and said, let's put that into getting a Broadway set designed by an outside designer, built by a company that builds sets for Broadway, and have it delivered to us in a way that we can then take it down and store it every year and rebuild it for subsequent years. Let's do the same with the lighting design and the sound design, and bring in professionals to design that for us and use our people to bring it onto the stage, etc. So the budget for that is way higher than our typical show, significantly higher. I daren't tell you how much we're spending. In fact, at this moment in time, I don't really even know how much the final bill will be. But when you amortize that over the next 5 or 10 years, it ends up turning out to be a cheaper way to bring a production to the stage than paying for an individual show every year. If we were going to do a Christmas Carol as a one-off show this year, it would probably cost us in the region of about $50,000 to maybe $60,000 to do that. But if we amortize the cost of putting on this spectacular show over the next 5 years, it comes in much cheaper than that. And we get an even better quality of production, visually and everything else. We're going to have special effects so that it snows on stage. We get that London fog. We get a ghost that flies and ghosts that appear in unusual places that you wouldn't expect it to happen. So yeah, it's something big that we're doing, that we're already working on way earlier than we would normally start working on a show, just because of the size of it. We've even talked to the Washington Pavilion about maybe sometime down the road co-producing it with them and maybe moving it to the Mary Somervold stage at the Washington Pavilion, which they're interested in looking to see how we do here and maybe having that conversation, further on. So yeah, that is something that people really need to get their tickets for early, and B, people who want to be a part of that production and a part of something special, you need to be signing up for the auditions, which are already on our website, and you'll be able to go there and click on the auditions link and fill out audition forms and book your place at the auditions. Yeah.
As Premiere Playhouse becomes more of a professional playhouse,
Yeah.
are you going to have to be thinking even further ahead than you normally do?
Absolutely. We've tried to model ourselves during our recovery on the Omaha Playhouse, who are a community theatre just like we are, but they own their own theatre and they employ 39 people and they do 10 productions a year, and they occasionally pay a professional actor to be a part of a production, and we're still a long way from that. They are financially the most successful community theatre in the USA. They bring in about $4.3 million a year, I think.
Incredible.
They've got an endowment that's worth $7 million. We're still
they have a little to work with.
We've got a long way to go before we ever get to that. But that's what we aspire to. So yeah, our professionalism will, eventually, hopefully replicate, what they're doing. We may consider paying a professional actor occasionally for a key role in a major play, and that would be just great for our other actors in that play to be around somebody of that sort of status, and learn from them as well.
Well, that's the old adage of success breeds success.
Yeah,
and obviously that's happening here. And we're seeing so many. I mean, the talent level of even our local actors has become phenomenal. And this community just continues to grow, which means we continue to grow in the number of people that are involved in arts and entertainment.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's been a very good thing, and I'm so happy. I love seeing this Premiere Playhouse. I'm happy to be here recording this with you today in comfy chairs in a nice spot, and seeing the offices and so forth. You have to be just overexcited at this point, don't you?
I can't believe that we've come this far in such a short period of time. If you go back 3 years, we thought, I wasn't a part of it, other than I was one of those volunteer actors, and I directed a couple of shows, and I sometimes did the follow spotlights, and that kind of thing. But 3 years ago, it's fair to say we were on our knees, and I got asked to join the board and we were looking at how are we going to recover, and we said we've got to slash our budgets dramatically and stick within them, but we've got to improve our marketing, and we've got to select plays, like I said earlier, that put bums on seats, etc. At the end of the first year, we'd settled all of our short-term debt to everyone, and we consolidated the one big debt that we had, which was to the city of Sioux Falls, into an interest-free loan, which we've been paying off. We'd like to pay that off to the city as soon as we can. We're talking to them about that, but we really need to invest money that we got for COVID into what it was given to us for, which is improving the quality of what we do and getting this Christmas Carol production into a situation where it becomes a financial cash cow for us each year, and I think we'll be in a position very shortly to be 100% debt free and give the city the rest of that money much earlier than they will get under.
Will there
the
be a gala for that?
We've got. Sorry?
Will there be a gala when that happens?
I doubt it. I mean, the reality of it is, I think we'll do it much sooner rather than later.
That's excellent.
And we're in a position now where we are financially relatively safe, but we have to keep doing what we've been doing. We're spending more on productions than we were spending 2 years ago. We've got more staff than we had 2 years ago, and we're consistently making a profit on every show that we do. And we're getting better at fundraising, because it's very hard to survive on just ticket sales. If you don't win the support of local philanthropists who will give a $10,000 donation to sponsor a show, or we have an exciting project just starting up called the Penguin Project. And what we do with the Penguin Project is we're going to be taking children with disabilities, and we're going to partner them with children who don't have those kind of disabilities, and they're going to work in pairs to put on a Broadway musical. And when that musical takes to the stage, which will be next summer, and the first one will be Annie, it will feature the disabled kids, and the kids who've mentored them will step back and let the spotlight shine on those disabled kids. I'm getting a lump in my throat.
I am too, just listening.
And I just think it's a wonderful lesson in humanity to those non-disabled kids to do something selfless and then let the spotlight shine on those kids. And they might have to stay on stage to help their partner move around or prompt a line or whatever. But T. Denny Sanford has pledged to me $100,000 for that project if I can raise another $100,000 in matched funding. And that's where I'm looking to those local philanthropists to do that, so that we then have a $200,000 Penguin Project fund that makes sure that show comes to fruition every summer, and we do a different musical every summer featuring those kids and also, you know, involving other kids as well. And I've even talked to the symphony about possibly having youth symphony players create a live orchestra for that. So I just think it'd be a wonderful, inclusive celebration of youth. And that's one of the words that's really prominent at all of our meetings now. We want to be inclusive. We're actually actively putting together a committee that says, how do we involve everybody in this community? There's a lot of different nationalities in Sioux Falls now. There's people of all different colours and races that when I look at us, we're still very white. And although we have, a few people of colour, etc., that are regulars with us, I want to involve more. And I, when we talked about that talent that's walking out there, there's got to be so much talent that's not tapped into through these different cultural societies that exist here in town, that we really need to hang up a welcome sign to everybody. And that welcome sign is the best way of having a welcome sign is to have them look at us and see that we are a diverse group of people who work together and put on plays together and musicals together.
All right. I normally at this time would probably ask you, what do you see for the future? But you've laid out a lot of it already for us. Anything beyond what you've talked about?
Retirement. The reality of it is, I don't see myself retiring until such a day as my body won't let me do it anymore. But I think we're going to be taking a show on the road. We did it with Steel Magnolias. I think we'll be doing it this year with the 39 Steps. I haven't even mentioned, other than A Christmas Carol and Blood Brothers, the fact that we've got the 39 Steps by Alfred Hitchcock coming up as a show. We've got Lombardi, which is about Vince Lombardi, the famous football coach. And we end out our season with another musical spectacular of Cabaret. And we want to do some of these shows in different venues. It would be great if we can get on the Mary Somervold stage. It would be great if we take that show on the road and go back to Madison, like we did with Steel Magnolias, and Mitchell and Del Rapids, and maybe even Vermilion and other places. But I've just had a meeting earlier today where we've even talked about the possibility of maybe doing a show. I'm not sure of the correct name of the venue, but the Veterans Centre, up by the north edge of town there, that used to be the pawn shop.
Oh,
place.
yeah, the Alliance.
Yeah, the Veterans
the
Alliance. That's what we're talking about. They've got a great venue up there, and I think it would be a great venue for us to do dinner theatre. Yeah. We've got lots of things, and I've already talked to you, but the public don't know about us building a podcast studio here. We've got a venue in the building that has been approved for us to open a podcast studio, and we want to do our radio plays from there in the future, and at least a monthly, if not more frequent than that, podcast. And
I know a guy that might want to host it.
That's right. Yeah. So
or co-host.
Yeah, co-host. I'd love to do that with you.
Likewise.
Yeah. So lots of ideas, and right now, we're building up the bandwidth to be able to do that. We've got to do what we're capable of doing with the resources that we have at the moment, and then we've also got to look at what can we do to acquire the resources that we need to do all the other things that we want to do as well. And we'll get there. We absolutely will. I don't see any reason why things are going to change dramatically for us. We don't know what will happen in the world with COVID and new strains and all that sort of stuff. That can always trip us up, but you survived it once. We're resilient, and we'll survive it a second time if we have to. Yeah.
All right, Robin Byrne, always a pleasure. Thank you so much, and good luck for season 19 and beyond.
Thank you so much, Dave. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. We'll be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment. Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony provide professional care for your hands and feet, whether you just want the basics or an extra special look with added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself too. Quality Nails. Call for an appointment. 605-334-1463.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at XL Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation. 605-332-9235 or xlchiros.com. Excellent care for excellent people. XL Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
Listen to the Dave Holly Hour each week to hear who gets honorable mention.
Welcome back, everybody. Always a pleasure to have you along. Thank you for listening, whether you stream or whether you download. Appreciate the shares on Facebook and Instagram as well as Twitter. Thank you so much, and thank you for the fact that you know there are a lot of great people that we get to interview for this job because they come on, and what's nice is when they get to the point of saying, hey, Dave, can I be on? Well, he's going to set the record today. Now in his 5th appearance on the Dave Holly Hour, but last for the season most likely.
Oh, yes, for our season.
For the Canary season, John Gaskins.
Your season never ends.
You? No, mine doesn't. In fact, big party coming up. I told you about that, right? Okay, don't forget it. Now we got the listeners going, what?
All right. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm great. I'm
excellent.
I'm great because you've allowed me to come back. And I do think it's worth everyone's time. We're doing some entertaining things that involve the arts and the entertainments out at the Birdcage, and we're doing it one last time the last 7 or 8 days. So we're rip-roaring ready to go. I'm trying to make it count. The last 7 out of 56 shows this year.
Incredible. Yeah. And they've gone well. You've had a lot of fun out there. There's no doubt about that.
A lot of moments, including, I don't know, about 4 or 5 a.m. I was restless today, so I just dove into some of the entertainment we're putting on the big board for tonight and tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And at one point, while I was editing some videos, just trying to mine for gold and laughing out loud at something I found and just going, I can't believe I'm doing this for a living. I was trying to find some good. We have game show night tonight, which will be gone by the time, which will be in the rearview mirror by the time people listen to this. But going through Saturday Night Live, Celebrity Jeopardy clips, and the whole thing with Alex Trebek, Will Ferrell's Alex Trebek. Norm Macdonald is Burt Reynolds, who becomes Turd Ferguson. Yep. Sean Connery is Daryl Hammond. Yeah. And anyway, laughing out loud, having to cut a lot of it that's not appropriate for a family-friendly baseball crowd, but still laughing out loud nonetheless. And then finding a clip from the Family Feud from the 70s with Richard Dawson, with a guy, with 2 different guys in the lightning bonus round who are just yutzes. I mean, he asks the first thing out of the gate is name an animal with three letters. 3 letters.
Oh, my.
First guy said the frog. The second guy said alligator. And the way Richard Dawson handles these 2 with his comments when they, turn around and it was just comedic brilliance. And I'm like, gosh, I'm getting paid to just sift to find this gold and laugh out loud while I do it.
Well, fantastic.
Yeah.
We should let everybody know that this is a very special edition of the Dave Holly Hour as well, because we're recording this part in the 3-season room of the Firefly Oasis. And
that's a first?
You have been one of the few that's been to the Firefly Oasis.
I am.
But we thought we'd take advantage of a nice day.
Yes, it is. We're in the indoor part of the indoor-outdoor Firefly Oasis, but the door is open, and we got that rare pre-September, 78-degree day.
Yeah, beautiful.
Tiny little breeze.
And,
sunshine.
that's what makes baseball great, is when you get a great day, too. And so you've still got an opportunity this coming weekend, then, because you're going to have, is it Thursday, or do we miss Thursday? And
Thursday's the only day between Monday and Monday. Labor Day's our last day, our last game. Thursday's our only
off day
of this
All right,
stretch.
So Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
the last 3 days of the 56 shows. What do we have coming our way?
We have Negro League Appreciation Night on Friday night. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful event. I'm so thrilled. Our new owners, are excited about this event, and we were going to do this on a weeknight at some point in the season when we were playing the Kansas City Monarchs. Kansas City Monarchs, of course, was a Negro Leagues team. Probably you could say the Negro Leagues team. They had Jackie Robinson. I believe they had Satchel Paige. And they were the longest running Negro Leagues franchise back, from 1920 to about the mid 60s when they disintegrated, because there had been by then 15 years of integration in Major League Baseball. But the Kansas City T-Bones were a team in our league, our AA level independent league. And they got new owners, and they decided to change their name to the Monarchs as a tip of the cap to that franchise, that organization, that incredible slice of baseball history. And we thought, well, when we play the Monarchs, we should honor them and honor the Negro Leagues. And they celebrated their 100th anniversary last year. So... But then our owners, our management, everybody, our sales director, everybody's like, this is a Friday night game. This is a Saturday game. We want big crowds to be there for this. This should be a fireworks night. So we made it a Friday night toward the end of the season. And it's going to be more of an educational evening than an entertaining evening. There's a lot of ties to South Dakota and the Negro Leagues, far more than anyone would imagine. And so both what we're going to hopefully have in our entry on Friday night from the South Dakota African American History Museum at the Pavilion, but certainly on our video board for sure, just some things I think people will find really, really cool. And not the same kind of bells and whistles and songs and dances as we usually have for our themes, but important nonetheless. And we're still going to have a good time. I mean, we're still going to have a ton of fun and have some laughs and do some cool things on the board and live entertainment, singing, dancing, all that jazz. And Saturday will be Superhero Saturday. Something that everybody on my staff...
Are we looking to SuperCon already, which is like in another month?
Maybe.
Or are we going to be seeing people like this?
I hope so.
Yeah.
That's the goal. There is a South Dakota Superheroes Club, so we've reached them. They're excited, and they'll have a presence, but we are going to give ticket discounts to anyone who comes to the game dressed as a superhero. So put on your capes, put on your masks, put on your spandex, whatever. Superman, Batman, Iron Man, all the women superheroes as well. This is exactly in the wheelhouse of when you and I first sat down for the first time this season about what we're trying to be, which is fun, but also interactive with the fans. We don't just want the people that are on our staff to be the entertainment, or our players for that matter, because we do and are trying to establish player-fan engagement, players shaking hands and giving fist bumps, signing autographs before and after games, and funny parts of some of the videos that we have out there. But we also want the fans to be on it. And as I mentioned before, we had a Big Lebowski night.
Right.
Good cult following. I'm sure most people listening saw Big Lebowski. So we gave discounts to anyone who wore a robe to the game, because that's what the dude liked to wear. We changed our name to the Dudes. We had special dude jerseys that looked like his sweater. And again, the cool thing about that night was I walked around as the dude. I dressed up as the dude. I wore a robe. I wore the jersey. I wore pajamas. And 5-year-old kids who I guarantee you have not seen the Big Lebowski. Right. Not been allowed to by mom and dad.
I was just going to say, parental guidance might have been involved.
Hey, what's up, dude? Yeah. Hey, what's up, dude? How you doing, dude? What's going on, dude? Yeah. And but the dudes that came to the game wearing robes, I mean, they made that so much fun. You could tell how psyched they were to have a night out on the town. It beats going to just a bar as yourself and just having another night at the bar. There's a lot of bars and breweries I love in this town, and you and I go there.
That we do.
Plenty of them. But that's what we think is unique about our park, and we want to be even more unique, is it's the best outdoor patio in town, and a night like that, the best bar in town where you can have fun and escapism. And what better escapism than a Superhero Saturday?
Right, a little cosplay going on.
Yep.
And the thing is, that has had such a resurgence in the last 10 years.
Gosh. Yeah.
And, for a place like Sioux Falls to have its own Comic-Con and call it SuperCon, and to be successful with that and to see how many people are involved is just crazy.
Yeah.
And especially to see how many women are involved in it, too.
Absolutely.
That's phenomenal. And you will, trust me, you will see some high-tech costumes.
I hope so.
It's amazing what these people do, especially when you see, like Star Wars characters and so forth.
Yeah.
The details. And, we're not just talking about, hey, we went to one of the big stores in town and bought a costume because they already got Halloween stuff out. No. It's cool.
Stuff that got shipped in.
Yeah, this is stuff that you go, wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive. And some of which you go, wow, they got to be sweating in that.
That's the goal. We want Comic-Con at our ballpark. That's it. Yeah. I mean, we have, again, at least made it known to the South Dakota Superheroes chapter, and they're interested. They want to be there. So we're hoping as many people come, and hopefully some people listening right now, this is up your alley. This is your night to go to the Birdcage. Your last chance, really. That'll be our third to last home game. But yeah, we want as many people as possible to be in on the bit. We had a Halloween night on Friday the 13th. I mean, we just called it Freaky Friday. We had a lot of kids dressed up in costumes, but not as many adults as we would have liked. I did, but I've got a costume for almost every night. I'm a different,
you play plenty of characters.
Almost every game is Halloween for me, every show. But yeah, so we had a Ghostbusters night, every Wednesday is an 80s theme, awesome 80s Wednesday. So we picked a different 80s movie to honor and watch some clips of during the game and do some fun things with. And thankfully we contacted the Ghostbusters Club of South Dakota, which is based in Sioux Falls. And a few of them showed up. I mean, you only need 4, right? So we had 4 of them show up, and they had, what you just said, they had their uniforms on. They brought whatever that kinetic Nero machine that zaps ghosts or whatever. They brought one of those things.
Oh, they are all about.
I mean, they were just terrific, and they only get to do that only so often. What, Halloween? I mean, Ghostbusters wasn't even a comics, or was it? I don't know. I don't think it was. No. So, I mean, of course, they were like thrilled. They're like, yes, this is our thing, and we get to do this at the ballpark in front of a bunch of people. So, hoping for that on Saturday night. And the other thing I'll add to this is I was not a huge comic person growing up. I wasn't not a comic person. I mean, I read them. I knew them. I watched Superman and Batman, He-Man, stuff like that. But I didn't grow into it becoming a part of my life. So it really wasn't on my mind or on my radar when I sat down before the season to think of all these. It did not make any of the 56 shows, but I had so many different people of so many different ages, whether it be people on our staff, like my 22-year-old interns, 32-year-old general manager, sales guys, almost everybody suggested to have a superhero night. Like, that's because they thought, people are more into that than you would expect. So
makes for a wide demographic then too, Saturday which means more tickets.
Exactly. So,
and again, if you do participate in this, then you do get a discount for wearing your costume.
Yeah.
So
you get a few dollars off the ticket
that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So look forward to that. And then what do we have coming up on Sunday?
Harry Canary Bobblehead Day.
Oh my!
We always have at least one bobblehead game every year, and this was it this year. And this was our general manager Duel's idea. It was not my idea.
This is a can't miss event.
You tell me why.
Well, because I've got it on good note.
Yeah.
I have great sources on this one. That not only will Harry Canary be there, his cousin Gary Canary.
No kidding.
Is going to be in attendance on Sunday as well. Yeah, it should be fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does Harry look a lot like Gary?
Quite a bit, yes. Just that Gary is bearded.
Yeah. Bearded.
But the glasses and so forth, the way of the speech, just like Harry Canary. It's going to be fun.
Yeah,
duet time.
It is duet time. Hey,
hello again.
Hey, could Gary Canary tell the story about Harry Canary and the strikes of the balls?
Oh, of course, it's my favorite to tell. So,
Harry Canary, Harry Carey of the Chicago Cubs, was broadcasting a game. He had his best friend as the director of those telecasts. He and Arnie Harris. They went to the track a lot, and they went to a lot of bars, too, together.
Mainly on Rush Street.
Right, exactly. And
never bought a drink in their lives.
And so they'd sit there and, Arnie, during the telecast, going into and out of commercials, would always show people in the crowd. Well, one day, there was this guy and a gal out in the bleachers, and they're making out. And when we come back from the commercial, sure enough, they're still making out. Every inning, this is going on.
Oh, my. Yeah. The good old days at Wrigley Field.
Exactly.
The bleacher bums.
Exactly. In the friendly confines, they were quite friendly with each other. And, my on-air partner at the time was Steve Stone, and I just called him Stoney. And about by the seventh inning, I kept seeing this couple in and out of every commercial break. I turned to Stoney and say, "Hey, Stoney, I've got it figured out. He's been kissing her on the strikes, and she's been kissing him on the balls." And it made it all the way down to the dugout, and then you see Arnie pointing his camera at the dugout, and they're just curled over in laughter.
The magic of Harry Carey.
Hello again.
Hey, Gary.
Hey,
Ryan Sandberg, the former Cubs second baseman.
Hall of Famer.
Do you know what Sandberg spelled backwards is?
Yes.
Tell me.
Grab an ass.
Grab an ass.
Isn't that wonderful? I think that's what that couple might have been headed toward.
Yeah. There was another game where Arnie was having the director tell the cameraman to pan the outfield on a hot and steamy summer afternoon at Wrigley Field in the sunshine and the bleacher bums, most of which did not have tops on. The men were shirtless, the women tube tops at most. And the camera panned for a while, letting the audience soak it all in, the skinned glory. And then Harry finally let out a chuckle and said, "Ha ha, some good bodies and some bad bodies."
Oh, my, Harry. Yeah, fun stuff.
Yeah, so good. Well, that's, I'm glad to hear Gary's going to be there.
Yes.
And it's a lot of season ticket holders. Well, they get the bobblehead. They've been asking about it, and I'm like, you're okay. This is part of the perks of being a season ticket holder. You'll get your bobblehead.
Right.
For those who are not season ticket holders, and I don't think we have to explain to the audience what a bobblehead is. Right. It's pretty self-explanatory, and people love to collect them. And having worked on a baseball team for the last 2 years, you really intimately, deeply understand how people covet the bobbleheads. And
that's a big
deal. I don't think there's as much excitement that it's a Harry Canary bobblehead as just it is a bobblehead. But
to commemorate the season.
Sure. Yeah. And so there's been a lot of questions about it.
Yeah. Last year was Harry Canary's rookie year.
It was. Yeah. And so he came back this year, and mainly the face and the voice on a lot of the Canaries promo ads, and then sings "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." But Harry is someone who, is best in smaller spurts, small doses, So he's not the usual MC or host out at the ballpark. He appears usually in the seventh inning with his beer in hand. Sometimes it's a Budweiser like Harry Carey used to drink, but
I'm a Cub fan of a Bud.
That's
man.
right. But Harry Canary doesn't just have to drink Budweiser. Harry Canary drinks whatever the hell he wants. That is sold at the ballpark. That Harry is happy to promote, because it's always last call for alcohol in the middle of the seventh inning. Your last call to go get a Leinenkugels. Do you know what Leinenkugels spelled backwards is?
It's crazy, so tell me.
Slugendidel. Slugendidel. And it's perfect. The summer shandy is perfect to enjoy when you're out on the kayak. Do you know what kayak spelled backwards is?
I love it.
It's kayak. It's a palindrome. Do you know what palindrome spelled backwards is?
It's not a palindrome.
I don't either. That's a lot of word salad. But on Sunday, Harry Canary will host. He will be, they're going to give him the mic.
Oh, my.
Harry and Gary, all day long, playing game show host, introducing all the bits. It's going to get a little wild. Fortunately, it's an afternoon game. Not that ever stopped Harry Carey from maybe having a drink or two or more before he went on the air, because all the Cubs games were in the afternoon back in the day. Yeah. But anyway, free reign on the mic for Harry and Gary, and we'll see how that goes.
That'll be a good time.
And if anyone wants the bobblehead, you just have to go online to sfcanaries.com. You have to order the game ticket. It gives you a lower bowl seat close to the action. And Harry Canary bobblehead comes with it. It's a special link. It's up there, sfcanaries.com. It's on the homepage. You can't miss it. Harry Canary bobblehead day. And there's a special link for it. And that link is the exact deal. You have to go to the Harry Canary bobblehead link, order your tickets from there. Boom. It's $20, by the way, which is actually less than the price of a walk-up ticket for the lower bowl on a Sunday. So for less than the price, if you would just walk up and get tickets, go online, sfcanaries.com. You get the ticket and the bobblehead. Pretty cool deal.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And have a beer next to it.
Yep, absolutely. Oh. People are disappointed he doesn't. Well, I shouldn't say anything. He doesn't have a beer in the bobblehead. He should. But I hope that still convinces people to get a bobblehead.
I think it will. Yeah, go out there, get your bobblehead, enjoy a great game, and have fun no matter what.
Sundays are great days no matter what, because families, our gates open at 1 o'clock, and parents and their kids and anybody. I mean, obviously it's a great father-son, mother-daughter, mother-son, father-daughter thing, nephew, uncle thing, but you can play catch in the outfield. We open the field up. The opposing teams are all really nice guys about allowing kind of a section of their practice area in the outfield to have the fans take over for a little while, and then after the game, the fans are allowed back on the field to run the bases for as much and as long as they want to, until your kids get really tired or dizzy or bored or any of those. But so play catch in the outfield before, run the bases after. And as always, fans are allowed on the field. Any fan is allowed on the field. Middle of the 8th inning for what? This is a good trivia question for you. I know you go to the games. The YMCA. Everybody gets to do the YMCA. And Dave, that's one of my favorite things. It's a long-time birdcage tradition. It's one of my favorite things about every game. And it's not just like no matter how good the Canaries are that year or how well they're playing that night, whether they're winning or losing. It's not even the celebratory, the YMCA, everybody doing it together on the field, which is fun to watch from the stands. It's even more fun to be on the field for, because it's mostly kids. I mean, adults are welcome, and some parents take their kids on the field and get in on the act, but the build up to it when the kids get into the tunnel that leads to the field, when almost every game, no matter how many fans we have, we will just have a giant congestion of these kids so pumped to get on the field and do the YMCA. They got KG the Bird in there with them, and they're, high-fiving and hugging KG, and just they're just kids happy about to do something, living in the moment. And it's just, it never gets old to see that scene.
Okay, slight chance of some showers on Sunday, but otherwise a high of 76.
Yeah.
That's
terrific
for the end of August into September.
It's a sweet spot.
That's excellent.
Yes,
just
it
like
is.
hitting the sweet spot of the bat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. So
that was the worst sound effect I've ever had for hitting a baseball. Well done. Yeah.
And then, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, what are we looking at on Labor Day then?
We're going to close out the season with a Labor Day theme. Instead of just, we usually have a fan appreciation day. A lot of major league teams. And we love the fan. We feel like every game is a fan appreciation day for a lot of the same things I just said that we get to do and fans get to do on Sunday. But so we're going to celebrate Labor Day by celebrating The Office, or more so by celebrating the fact that, well, at least nobody at the game has to be at the office. So some of our games will involve office supplies, but we're going to pay homage to the movie Office Space. It is the 25th anniversary of Office Space.
Oh, my.
I was amazed to see that movie barely covered its expenses. It was not a box office smash, but since has been kind of like The Big Lebowski, a cult smash. So, and hey, we're going to have it on a Monday, but nobody's going to have a case of the Mondays on Labor Day at the Birdcage.
Not at all.
So it's get out of work on Labor Day, Office Space 25th anniversary or something like that. So we're looking forward to that as well. And it's a Margarita Monday. On Mondays, we sell margaritas. Buy one, get one free. So what a way to do. I mean,
I tell you,
not a bad way to celebrate Labor Day. It is a 1:00 game. So, come on out after lunch or for lunch and start having and enjoying those margaritas.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
and that's going to
Labor
wrap
Day.
up show number 56 for the year then.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Regrettably, no playoffs.
No playoffs.
Yeah, no playoffs. No. But you would have had some fun during the playoffs, too.
Yeah, we would have figured something out. Absolutely.
In the meantime, then, as you look back, obviously, Big Lebowski, the Dudes, was a great time and so forth. What were some of the highlights of the year in terms of the entertainment you had out at the ballpark?
Yeah, that was a big one because it was such a simple concept. And it was the word dude. We could have had a Big Lebowski night, and I could have maybe just dressing up as the dude would have done it. But I give our general manager a lot of credit. He comes up with great ideas, Dual Higbee, and he said, we got to change our name to the Dudes that night. Now, that's partly a tip of the cap to the Stampede. They changed their name to the Wiener Dogs every year and do the Wiener Dog races. And as you know, the Canaries and the Stampede used to be owned by the same people, and Dual worked with them. So, we borrow from each other in the sports industry. And but it was still a classic idea. I'd say that was number one. That was a Friday night. It was probably our biggest crowd of the year, and we had the participation. And it's just some nights are magical. It's just kind of like the theater. Some nights you have it, some nights you don't. A lot of nights it's somewhere in between. And but some nights it's like everything is popping. Just everybody is on their game, from anybody who works in the stadium or is part of the performance. And even I think our team played pretty well that night, but frankly, I don't remember. I don't remember the result of too many of our games.
You're a little busy.
I'm not watching them until I'm Harry Canary in the late innings, and I get to because he's kind of a cheerleader. But so there's Big Lebowski, and then very similar to that was just the last one we had that finished off our most recent homestand a couple weeks ago on a Thursday night. We had WWE night. Same thing where fans were encouraged to wear outfits of their favorite wrestler. And I'll be honest, this is the first year we're doing this kind of thing. So some nights like the Big Lebowski hit and people get it and they dress the part. We're certainly hoping for that for Superhero Saturday. There wasn't a lot of, and think of it. These are not superhero costumes. Mm-hmm. These aren't robes. These are to come as a WWE wrestler. What would you have to come in? Arrive in. Okay.
It depends on who you're portraying.
But most of them, Speedo. And I don't know if we want to see that from most
even Adrian Adonis, who had the world's largest girth stomach.
Yeah.
Wore just a little brief thing.
Yeah. The earthquake did at least give us the courtesy of wearing you remember the earthquake? Yeah. Yeah. He's about 400 or 500 pounds. He gave us the courtesy of Andre the Giant as well of wearing wrestling
singlet,
singlets. But anyway, so that probably with my mind was probably afloat somewhere when typing up that promotion. Like how many people are going to actually dress like wrestlers? But the host for the evening, and I was torn because I had a sliver of time, in my life, like a lot of kids, about 8 to 12 years old, where I was really into that, and that was the Randy Savage, Macho Man Randy Savage, Ultimate Warrior, Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
Superfly's awesome.
Oh, he was the best. Hulk Hogan era. So I'm like, which of these should I be? Those were my 4 favorites. But I
met the Hulk one time.
Did you? Okay, yeah. I want to hear that story. Yeah. I ended up being, though, and it was the best decision I've ever made. Ric Flair. I did not need to buy a wrestling singlet for this. Right. All I needed to do was wear a suit and bring out that blonde wig and sunglasses and just yell, woo, all night long. So I just came out and yelled, woo over here, woo over there. I walked to every section of the stadium. I usually don't look in our dugout to see our players' reaction because I just assume by now I'm an eye roll to them because, they have to deal with me every night. And but this time I went right up to them and pointed and woo. And, they were enjoying that. Our manager, Mike Meyer, had to turn around laughing. It was so easy. And it made me realize this man, very talented. Go watch any Ric Flair video on YouTube. You know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Incredibly talented guy. And the physical beating you have to take to be any of these wrestlers is amazing. But he made millions off of one word. What's Ric Flair without yelling woo? He was a great character, but at least for that night, that's it, because Randy and Chris up in the PA booth, Chris is our sound guy, just kept hitting the Ric Flair, woo! So between the Ric Flair and the speakers yelling woo, between me yelling you, and the fans yelling woo, it was a woo fest all night. And I thought, 5 minutes before first pitch, like we've killed it in a bad way. Like people are gonna be so tired of yelling woo or other people yelling woo that this is gonna be a mess, and people are gonna want to leave. People were still yelling woo when they were walking out of the gates and into their cars, because I was still Ric Flair at the gate saying goodbye to everybody as they walked out. And woo! I mean, it was everywhere I walked. Woo, woo, woo. That was it. And we had a couple fans doing a woo off. I went up to one of the suites, and there was like 6 fans aged 30 to 50, men and women. And, a guy who'd been clearly yelling woo, clearly had been, served quite a bit that night. And he, kind of muscular 50-year-old guy. He's just so jacked that we got up there into the suite to do the woo fest. We just decided to randomly choose this group of people to do a woo fest. They didn't even know. I showed up and I said, who wants to do a woo fest after the third out? Oh, so we let 6 of them do their best woo. And then we narrowed it down to 2 finalists, the aforementioned man and like a 65-year-old lady and these are co-workers at some office in town. And, she seemed like your nice, mild-mannered lady in the office. And she's just like a woo, 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 woo. I mean, and she won. It was just a party that I don't think anybody expected. We did not expect WWE night on a Thursday. After the school year starts, which means it's always tougher to draw fans. It was an example of we didn't get the size of crowd we expected, but we hit energy. We hit our goal of what we are trying to be. A night at a minor league ballpark in Sioux Falls, South Dakota is supposed to be a blast, and we should not be reliant on how well our baseball team is playing for people's happiness. That's icing on the cake if they play well throughout the game and win the game. But I'm guessing most people went home just, probably at some point, probably finally tired of all the woos. But, so I'd say those two are the ones that stick out, because it was, everything we want our games to be. We want the fans to come away with smiles, but also to be a part of it all. So
what did you learn this year compared to last year, your first year in this position?
Yeah, I had to do a lot more, so I learned a lot more. It's on the spot. You have to, even though you have 56 shows to promote, and really we always highlight our Fridays and Saturdays. We always try to make our Fridays and Saturdays the big ones. Usually there's a corporate sponsorship tied with it as well, for good reason, because that's, you expect the biggest crowds on those nights. And so that's when businesses want to promote themselves. And so I learned that you almost can't ever promote anything far enough ahead of time. And that's promotions 101. Right. But again, when you have so many shows to do and plan for, sometimes you're seeing the next tree and not the entire forest. And the ones we did really hop on early, Big Lebowski night was one of them. I don't know and doubt it is a coincidence, because we had Big Lebowski night on our board during our games, between innings every now and then, back in late May. Come to Big Lebowski night, July 9th. And so, I think that was part of it. We like, this is our all-in night. We're going to change our team name. That worked well. So there were some other games, and I don't want to single them out, where the night, the whole thing, the whatever the theme was, the people who were, who was their night, either the sponsors or the crowd, the people that came for the theme, it's that theme, I got to go to that. Came away happy and entertained, but maybe there would have been more people had they marked their calendars a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
The other thing I learned is there are some things that are on a weeknight, on a Sunday through a Thursday, that should have been on a Friday or Saturday night, because they seem to have gone really well. And WWE night that I just mentioned was one of them. It's like, we'll go back, and I'll probably go through all 56 shows with some other people on the staff and go, okay, we're bringing that back, because that was a smash. We're not bringing that back. That either, I don't think anything really bombed, but there's, we want all of them to kill, we want all of them to be grand slams. So if the ones that were the furthest thing from a grand slam, we're probably not going to do again. And, we still got 7 more to do. So we haven't really dove deep, but we've all made our mental notes. And so we're going to turn some things that were on a weeknight into Fridays and Saturday nights because they deserve it, because we learned people are receptive to that.
I know one of the things that you like to do is have a theme coordinated, especially with a certain anniversary of a TV show or a movie and so forth. So at what part of the year do you start looking at the anniversaries in Google and so forth?
I mean, I already have figured out some of the ones for 2022.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because you're looking at some of the things for this year and you're like, oh, we're a year off. And maybe we'll do more of that. Maybe we won't. To be honest, I don't know. I didn't know before the season started if I'm going to have this job next year. So I wanted to do all the things I thought were going to be awesome and fun and big ideas and go all in. And so there were, when it all started, I was like, yeah, let's really focus in on, is this the 35th anniversary of Top Gun? That was fun. Top Gun night was a lot of fun. I was, what's his name? Maverick. There were a lot of good jokes that came with it, a lot of interesting things. One really interesting thing in that game that happened that was kind of, it was a bit that bombed, but in a good way. I could mention it in a moment. And then I want to hear your Hulk Hogan story. But yeah, like Wayne's World, we could have waited until next year because it came out in 1992. But it's too good. We decided to have a Saturday Night Live night just to have a Saturday Night Live night. No big anniversary for that enterprise. But I just decided Wayne's World was one of the biggest skits. It was the most successful Saturday Night Live movie. So I was Wayne Campbell as the host, and we did some Wayne's World stuff, and then we played Wayne's World on the big screen after the game. So I didn't want to wait for Wayne's World's 30th anniversary to do. You don't want to wait and sit on that because I think I'm going to have this job again next year. It seems like they want me back. It's going to be fun, but let's. There are plenty more ideas out there for next year, but let's do great ones. Let's not wait on any of these.
Right. Well, next year we didn't get a chance to do it this year, but. The karaoke thing. I
that's
think
a popular idea. I have tossed that around.
And get it so that we get it coordinated with everybody doing karaoke around the region and get some finalists and then, have a short group to be able to do it then.
This very day we're taping was actually, I slotted that in as let's consider that. I did. And I talked to Dual, our GM, and he just kind of agreed that that's an awesome idea. We need further time to plan ahead for this. And that goes back to the promotions thing. It's just like, that's in the cards for next year.
Awesome.
Sure.
Look forward to that.
I also learned that perhaps, for that Wayne's World night, if I can be candid, we thought this is fun. We got a giant $500,000 new Daktronics board. Let's use it. So we use it for a lot of movie clips, TV clips, fun stuff between innings, big part of our entertainment. But hey, we could have movie night after the game, Wayne's World, Saturday night. I learned on that night, and it was really hot that evening, but, by 10:30, it's bearable temperatures. It was decent weather. People have been at the ballpark for 3.5 hours. They don't want to be there for another hour and a half or two. True. So, the
crowd dwindled?
It did. But again, you adjust. We showed The Sandlot on Faith and Family Day a couple weeks ago. We just showed The Sandlot for that time when all the families are on the field playing catch. That's a good use. Before the game, have it on. And it was 45 minutes into the movie when our gates opened. But so what? You walk in, The Sandlot's on. That's cool. That's better than having nothing in the background or generic music. So there's a lot of things to build on. And we'll use that video board for movie nights that aren't baseball game nights.
Oh, fun.
That's
right.
Why not? We get people to bring out their lawn chairs and stuff like that. And,
perfect.
We'll have a beer fest on October 9th out at the ballpark. We'll get it. Last year we had about 30 to 40 local and regional beer vendors. Taste testing. Most people know how beer fests go. You buy a ticket for so much, and you get so many chances to taste so many different kinds of beer. And we're going to do that on October 9th from, I think, 1 to 4 p.m. out at the Birdcage.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Especially my wife, who, by the way, we have to bring this up.
Yeah.
She and I have a little, tiff about your name.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'll say, Gaskins is coming over. Who? John.
Yeah.
So sometimes I got to pull the Bond thing on her. Gaskins, John Gaskins, because she just refers to you as John.
Okay.
Well, at her workplace, a mother of a mutual friend of ours that knows you was there, and she was talking about John, and finally she says, "Oh, Gaskins?"
See, most people, when they say my last name, it's kind of like the way Jerry refers to Newman. Oh, yeah.
Gaskins.
Gaskins. A couple people I have to work directly with certainly do that.
And you know, another thing we need to do as a shout out, congrats to Sioux Falls Little League.
Oh, yeah.
4th in the nation.
Incredible. That might be a part of this weekend.
Well, let's hope so.
mean,
because at some point, there's got to be a little bit of a tribute to that. That was amazing.
We'd be fools as South Dakota's largest baseball entity and the largest baseball stadium to not at least intend to have a time when we honor the Sioux Falls Little League team. So
that was excellent.
Sorry, I went straight to Canaries first on that one.
No.
But we are.
That's your job.
That's another thing in the works that we're going to find a time to, and as soon as we know, again, you could check sfcanaries.com. Because by the time people are listening to this podcast, we may have decided on the night. We'll certainly share that on social media, because that's another, if for nothing, to come out to one of these last few Canaries games, come out to
honor them.
Fill the stands just to show. I mean, the more people we can put in that place for those kids to understand. I'm sure they do. Social media has been an incredibly powerful thing. When you have Patrick Mahomes, pretty much the superstar athlete in America, if not the planet, who's noticing Grant Weir, a 13-year-old kid, just throwing gas, no hitters. And of course, Patrick, like his dad, Pat, played baseball and was a pitcher. Pat, of course, pitched for the only Canaries team to win the title in 2008. Yeah. But anyway, so the whole literally the whole world knows about this team. And so they felt the love. And I'm sure they'll get a nice reception here or there or somewhere else. But, they could have a really nice big crowd for them when they come to the Birdcage, because that's an incredible ride they took us all on for a few days.
No doubt. It was fun to keep track of that.
So what's your Hulk Hogan story?
All right. I took from the broadcast industry, there was a stretch of about 5 years where I did retail.
Okay.
And sold men's clothing. And the big convention where you would go and put in your orders for everything, there'd be hundreds, if not thousands, of vendors there, different clothing makers and manufacturers. And they were always trying to get people to stop by their booth one way or another. And one time it was a sportswear company, and they had Hulk Hogan there. Here's how long back it was. I got a Polaroid of standing next to him.
Okay.
But just very quiet man. Incredible, compared to the persona you see when he's wrestling or in movies and so forth. And it was just, hey, brother, how you doing?
Quiet. Yeah. Wow. Quiet to the point of standoffish? Or
not standoffish, just, very congenial.
Yeah.
But just, it's, when you're going up there thinking he's going to rip a shirt off, and then just says, hey, brother, how you doing?
You think, do you think a lot of people in the entertainment world are like that? We've heard that about Johnny Carson, David Letterman.
Yeah.
Both of those guys who were most comfortable knowing that millions of people were watching them, and yet hated parties, hated dinner. Well, they didn't mind dinner parties if it was some of their best friends, but like parties, the big gatherings, it was just they'd rather, they'd rather be doing a root canal.
There's plenty of mentions of Johnny Carson, especially like during the commercial break time and so forth.
Yeah,
not really chatting with his guests.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And maybe that was I've heard, I don't know if Letterman did that technique as well. I've heard that as a technique somewhat to keep the conversation that they had going fresh. But that also could be just, it's just not what they're about.
Very true.
Icy cold figures. Now, unlike Dave Hawley, what you see is what you get. What you hear is what you get.
Is what you get.
That's right.
Yes. In fact,
that's right.
Do you know Zach Dresch, the flu bug?
Yeah. Drummer? Is he a drummer in a band?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
God, what was he? I don't know if it was Sipping on Gin and Juice or some song. His band was playing out.
And then he just sings it like outrageously.
Yeah, they were playing at Wood Grain one night. Yep. So I remember walking by. It caught my attention, and I can't. They were doing an absurd version, completely opposite end of the spectrum version of some pop song.
And he loves doing that.
Yeah, anyway.
He loves doing impressions as well.
Yeah. Okay.
And he even has one of me.
Oh, really?
Yes. Here's my imitation of Dave Holly. Fantastic.
Nice. And I'll have another Jack Daniels.
Exactly. Which is available here at the
of course it is.
Firefly Oasis.
Firefly Oasis, yeah. Well, that's, by the way, do you know Dana Carvey?
Uh-huh.
Is he up there as some of your favorite Saturday Night Live characters?
Goodness gracious, yes.
He has a new podcast, and it's called Fantastic.
I will have to check that out.
It's because it's sarcastically named. It's kind of like, my rent's overdue and my ex-wife's calling me about my alimony. Fantastic, stuff like that.
Very, very on point with that.
So if you're going to listen to any other podcast besides the Dave Holly Hour, it's the Dana Carvey Fantastic.
I will have to put that one in my book then.
Can I tell you the story about the bit that literally did not land on Top Gun night? At the Birdcage for the Sioux Falls Canaries. It was Top Gun night. And so, some of the entertainment that we had was of aerial theme or Top Gun theme. We played some of those classic clips. Got some of the fans to sing along with You Got That Love and Feeling when we played that scene in the movie. But we decided to, instead of doing the usual race that it was always a dizzy bat race of some sort, we had one fan... We lined up 4 kids over by the third base bag in foul territory, and we had an intern up on the third base berm, so 10 feet above them. And the plan was throwing this kind of giant-sized paper airplane. It's made out of plastic, but it's a giant plastic kind of little airplane. And the thing was, it was to throw this thing into orbit. So it kind of, winds around and, it's going to float up there and, whichever kid caught it or came closest or was the first one to touch it wins, and we were a little worried about kids running into each other, but, there's some fun drama there, right? But there was all kinds of consternation pregame and leading right up to doing it about the wind that night because we do live in South Dakota. And on a rare night at the Birdcage, the wind was coming in and at us. So there was fear that this plane that gets thrown from up there on the third base berm would get thrown into the orbit and come right back onto the berm, behind like a boomerang, whoever is throwing it. Well, how embarrassing would that be? So we decided to get an intern who is a University of Minnesota Gopher softball player who has a really strong arm, Allie, and we're like, Allie, you're our ace in the hole here. You're going to throw the airplane. You're going to pierce that wind, but kind of throw it upwards so it still flies down. But the most important thing here is it doesn't fly back to you. And so she gets her and she's like, "Yep, you got it, Chief." And they don't call me Chief, by the way. And they line up. And they're kind of lined up close to each other. And, they're shoulder to shoulder. And we're thinking, okay, the plane's going to go up there. They're going to go their separate ways and chase after anyway. And she just throws a dart right into the arms of one of the 4 kids. Just like it was, pitch and catch. Like she was playing catch. She just threw this. And fortunately, it's made of plastic, so it didn't hurt the kid. It was just like none of them moved. They were statues, and one of the kids caught it, and one of the wings flew off because it was such a bullet. So those are the kind of things, and we do a game called Tempt the Toddler. I think I told you about this last time, so I'll try to make it briefer. We have a 2-year-old looking 10 feet away at 3 different adults with 3 different prizes: teddy bear, lollipop, dollar bill. Used to be 100, now it's 20. And what's the toddler who should have no idea the concept of money yet? What are they going to go after? And the intrigue is all about if they're going to take the money. And we've had to not allow parents on the field anymore for this game.
They were telling
no coaching.
Yeah.
And let it happen organically because it's funny when they pick the lollipop too, And but half the time it's a 2 or 3-year-old, and you never know at any given second what mood that 2 or 3-year-old will be, especially now when there's any sort of feeling a bunch of people are watching them. And so half the time the 2 or 3-year-old just starts to break down crying or just freezes. Sometimes they just freeze. They just sit there and you're like, you point, let's go, Joseph, right over there. And you kind of have to nudge them a little bit. Let's go, let's pick. And they will just stand there. And so for a while, I didn't like that game. And Randy, our PA announcer, who's been at this for 10 years, he's a showbiz guy. He's a high school theater kid, like you and me and a lot of people. He said, that's the beauty of it. That's the point of Tempt the Toddler. Is not even what they're going to pick, is how they're going to immediately react. That's what toddlers do. Everyone in the crowd can relate, and so everybody's going to think it's funny no matter what they do. But that's part of the beauty and the fun of our shows, is that we plan for things to go a certain way, but you never know, and that's okay when it doesn't go exactly as it should. Sometimes it turns out better that way.
All right. John Gaskins.
Dave Hawley.
Gaskins. John Gaskins.
Gary Canary.
Gaskins.
Yeah.
Gaskins. Harry. And looking forward to Gary joining Harry this Sunday. That's going to be a blast. No doubt about that. But the always entertaining John Gaskins, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. And have a great rest of the season. And I'm sure you'll be on some other time yet, even though now you officially lead with 5 appearances on the show.
Well, if anybody's feels like they've been bombarded by Gaskins, blame Dave.
Yeah, true.
Thank you. I really, really appreciate this.
Well, I always appreciate you being on too.
We just like to think what we're doing and creating with the Sioux Falls Canaries is what
goes
Sioux Falls
beyond the ballpark.
Yeah, and what Sioux Falls should be all about. It's a growing city with some spectacular people who want to have a good time, who deserve to have a good time, but also should be a part of the good time and could be a part of the good time. So if there are any artists or entertainers out there who would like their work and their personalities on display next year at the Birdcage, so we can have all kinds of new characters and new fun and more ways of putting smiles on people's faces. We have at least a few hundred people every night, sometimes 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000. So you got an audience. We'd love to have you. Get a hold of us.
All right. Fantastic.
Yep.
See, there it was. Fantastic.
With conviction and straightforward direct meaning.
And we will be back to wrap up the Dave Hawley Hour in just a moment.
Sure, they have darts, and you've heard me talk about how ruggedly handsome the trivia host is, but all caps fun never stops at the Sky Lounge and Tea. And fun is best had with your friends enjoying live entertainment, as in live and local. Yeah, the Sky Lounge believes in giving you the best bands, solo artists, and comedians from the area. The Neo Johnsons, Elizabeth Hunstead, Skylar Volks, as well as many others. And a great staff will make sure you enjoy your fun at the Sky Lounge in Tea, South Dakota.
So, what else do you have for us? Nothing?
Thanks again, everybody. Appreciate all the likes, the shares, everything you do on social media, and as well, of course, for the downloads that you do. And if you're not downloading, appreciate you doing the streaming that you are able to. Anyway, gotta thank my wonderful guest today, as always. Thank you to Robin Byrne, Executive Director / Artistic Director of the new Premiere Playhouse. Looking forward to that great season that they have ahead of them. Also, thanks again to John Gaskins from the Sioux Falls Canaries, whose team didn't necessarily have a great season, but the fans definitely did with all the entertainment that was going on out there. As for what's going on this weekend, well, it's going to be a Friday block party starting at 5:30 down at 8th and Railroad Center. Be plenty of people to take in. Nick Burke, who's been on the show a couple of times, is going to be playing during that time as well. Also, Friday night at the Levitt, it's Tonic Sulfa. Has some Sioux Falls ties. And then Saturday night at the Levitt, V. the Noble One. He's from Sioux Falls, Mr. Vani Harari. He will be performing on Saturday night with a few others. Also, just want to remind you, it is Labor Day weekend. Hope you enjoy the extra time off if you have that, but make sure, no matter what, you stay safe. So it's a holiday weekend. My name is Dave Hawley, but for me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Hawley Hour has been brought to you by the Sky Lounge and Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Ale Hop Brewery Tours, and Jesse Moppet Entertainment. If you would like to contribute to the continued success of this podcast, go to DaveHawleyHour.com. At the bottom of the front page is the additional links section. click on the orange button, Dave Holly on Linktree. You can order merchandise, become a Dave Holly Hour VIP, and make contributions to the show. The Dave Holly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.